Welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy here at the Boys and Girls Club Thrift Store and More in Detroit Lakes, and I'm here with Boys and Girls Club of Detroit Lakes Executive Director Pat Peterman. And Pat has been so gracious as to talk to us today about the thrift store. What the focus is today actually is about how all this stuff at the thrift store is being reused and recycled, because if these piles of clothes weren't here, where would they be? And we're working along with Natural Innovations in our series to reuse, recycle, and we thought we'd ask Pat a few questions about the thrift store and how you process all the stuff and what happens to stuff when it comes in, when it's dropped off.
Yes, as you can see behind us, we have a huge pile of mostly clothes and miscellaneous goods that are dropped off each and every day here at the Boys and Girls Club Thrift Store. And as we process this, we actually do have a process. Many of the people who see this are overwhelmed by, oh my, what do you do with this? You know, how much of it is good, how much goes to the landfill or recycled? And so we have a process of sorting and getting it out on the sales floor. We have a process of recycling and putting stuff on trailers, metal, plastics, glass, clothes that we can't sell because of stains, tears, things of that nature. So we have a process for all that, and it's really neat. We've done our research with Dakota Boys Ranch up in Fargo and Moorhead, and they've been very helpful to us, and working now with the local environmental services and Sandy Gunderson and Natural Innovations. We're better able to put this to use through either recycling or reselling.
Okay, well let's take a little tour of actually kind of the process where it goes from piles into product.
You bet.
All right.
Right over here, I would say probably 40 to 50% of our items are miscellaneous, not clothes. Those things are, again, behind us. And it's brought over to this area where we clean it up, sort it, put it in totes. We then price it. 3 or 4 ladies are always pricing it, and we put it in these carts. It's ready to go. We have staff who are called runners, and they'll run these out to the sales floor for sale. Do they actually run? They don't. They do a pretty good job of just keeping a steady pace. So, you know, things like glass that's cracked and things like that, we put in a special bin where we can get it recycled. Cardboard is broken down and taken over to our baler, where it's brought out to Minn Kota and recycled. Just a lot of paper we do the same with, but miscellaneous is here. This is where we process most of it and get it out on the floor for resale. You know, how many hours does it take to go through this stuff? Good question. Probably a month ago it was full all the way over to the wall. In a matter of a couple of weeks, as it starts to slow down with the cool weather, our donations start to slow down, so we're able to catch up. I would say by end of the year, end of December, first part of January, this whole section will be down to literally nothing. Sorted already, either boxed and ready to go out to the floor or already out on the floor for sale. Right. Pat Peterman is with the Boys and Girls Club of Detroit Lakes. We're at the Thrift Store and More here in Detroit Lakes, and we're talking about how this stuff that is here at the Boys and Girls Club Thrift Store is recycled and reused, and making our environment that much better, and putting it back. Not being a consumer nation as we are, but yes. People need things. But like we were talking about before we started filming, is that look at all this stuff here, but where would it be if it wasn't here? Exactly. It did end up in our landfills and in our personal garbages going out to the landfill. So, we get a lot of things that unfortunately isn't useful for us as far as resale. So it does end up in the garbage. But we try and recycle as much as we can. The clothes, we get paid per pound that we can't sell. So that goes to Fargo, gets baled, and sent to third world countries for their use, or it's made into rags or into use for repairing things. So it's put to use, and we get something in return as far as some dollars for the kids at the Boys and Girls Club. And plus, it's a great store for the economy, because you have employees here, paid employees. Got 22 paid employees. We've probably got a half dozen to a dozen volunteers. looking for more volunteers all the time. But yeah, it's a process. And as we walk through, it's interesting to see it. It's from the time it's dropped off in the back at the back door to the time it gets to the sales floor. There's a lot of handling of it, unfortunately. But that's just the nature of the business.
All right, Pat Peterman is my guest today on Hometown Happenings. We're here at the Thrift Store and more, and there will be more after this. Welcome back to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy here at the Thrift Store and More in Detroit Lakes, the Boys and Girls Club of Detroit Lakes Thrift Store and More. And with me is the Boys and Girls Club Executive Director, Pat Peterman. And we're talking about the reuse and recycle of the thrift store, the concept that it is, and how we can keep all this stuff out of the landfill by reusing and recycling. And of course, Natural Innovations has been involved, Environmental Services, Becker County has been involved. But Pat, what are some of the other things? I mean, what are the actual, we've got clothes, we've got glass. What are some of the other recyclables that you have as we walk along?
A lot of it's, we get a lot of metal, and we do put out as much as we can that's in good, sellable, working condition. But we do have a trailer outdoors where the metal that we cannot sell goes into that trailer, and that is recycled, and we get, again, some funding for that to help the kids at the Boys and Girls Club also.
Well, who should we run into in the thrift store but Sandy Gunderson with Talking Trash.
Talking good trash.
Right. Well, Sandy, come on over. We're talking, of course, to Pat about how recyclables, how the thrift store is helping in the recyclable, the reuse, recycle process, and how it helps our environment in the long run. Why don't you come over here and stand between us?
Yes,
all
right.
Over here between us.
Actually, the best thing about it is that we're reducing waste in the landfills. That all this product that you folks donate, keep it from the landfills. We're not putting it in the landfills, and that's a goal. That's a great goal to have.
So what are some of the other things now with the Boys and Girls? I mean, just from the opening, I mean, moving into a bigger building and being able to get in more stuff. What are some of the goals that you have as a thrift store and have for recycling and reusing?
Yeah, before we were in a smaller location and had several warehouses and trailers full of stuff. Now we're able to be under one location. Now we need to better coordinate with those entities to better do that and have the process in order. Before we were all over the place and we weren't able to do that. And now working with the people that we're going to be working with, we'll be able to more easily separate the things that need to be recycled and be more environment friendly.
And just building the infrastructure so that when they pull it out of whatever they're working on, whether it's cords or lamps or whatever, that there actually is a place for it to go. So it doesn't go to the landfill. It's recycled, it's given away, whatever.
All right.
Well,
we're at the Thrift Store and More today on Hometown Happenings. I'm with Pat Peterman, the Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club, and Sandy Gunderson, who is with Becker County Environmental Services, also the host of Talking Trash here on TV3. And we are going to have another part of this Thrift Store and More, and it's actually, we're going to talk with some shoppers and kind of the consumer of the reuse and recycle, because without people, that doesn't happen. So we're going to talk to some of the folks that actually would shop at a recycle at a thrift store, and also some tips maybe while shopping in a thrift store, also some gift ideas as we approach the holidays.
It's a great thing to reuse.
I see a lot of deals.
I know.
And so we will be back. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Hometown Happenings along with Pat Peterman and Sandy Gunderson from the Thrift Store and More. I'm Carol McCarthy.